Okay, everything's all painted up on the car. I got the cross member painted. I sanded and degreased the trailing arms. And I just did the cast iron piece on the diff. And I just washed the LCAs. I nearly washed the anodizing off of them. These things are 5, 6 years old. It's probably due time to get new ones. But yep, it's all sprayed, dry. So next thing, I'm gonna put it together for the last time, minus the axle. So I'm waiting for the axles to come in. But other than that, it's all going back together for the last time, hopefully. So I'll go ahead and start on that. All right, I got it all put together and sitting on the ground now. This thing has got super dirty just sitting out here, but there she is. Yeah, just like I said, still got the rear axles. And also need to go in and buy another seal. Just about one new one. Still need to pick up the other one and pick up the fluid for the rear end. And go buy Ace because the bolts I bought aren't long enough. So I still got the axles, the rear fluid, and those 2 bolts back there. But yeah, I'll do it all at the same time, obviously. But other than that, it's completely done suspension-wise in the rear. Alright, well, the next update is going to be when I start putting the motor and the transmission together. So until then. Okay, so little update. I slapped everything together from probably what you last saw, and I brought the car over to my house. And I'm just basically finishing up stuff, but here's where it is right now. I got the trailing arms on the car. Cross members done. Diff is just loosely mounted right now. Because I'm missing one of the nuts for the bolts down underneath. Yeah, I think all the fabrication's done, and I also went ahead and made this piece of 18 gauge to make up my floorboard, and I started mounting the fuel system. I got the 10-gallon fuel cell. It's just eBay special. I paid like $100 some for it. It's really cheap. And I bought their like line kit. Well, not their line kit. Some other line kit on eBay as well. So I'm running a Bosch 44 pump. This goes from the dash 10, and right now it's just being after the fuel pump, from going from the dash 10 fuel pump, then it goes to dash 6 for now, because I want to use the stock lines, because I just simply don't have money to convert the whole fuel system to dash 10 right now, but I want to later on. So it's tucked up, it's fitting there. It's not getting quite pinched, but it's nice and tight in there. Then it's running all the way back to the factory lines, where I've used a fitting that goes from the straight hard line, then it goes to dash 6. So the hard line is 5/16, so 5/16 to dash 6. And another thing I didn't show, but yeah, the drive shaft, well, the rear portions in, I made some brackets to hold the viscous coupler, and those were just really simple. They're just made out of pretty much little pieces of square tubing that I had left over, and I just drilled some holes and hung it. Here, I'll show you a bit more of that. Actually, it looks kind of janky. It was really hard to weld that angle iron to the floor, but that's it. I need to cover up those holes, but that's where I've gone. Okay, so I got the holes all done that you last saw, which I welded tops on it, and it looks pretty yucky because that's sem sealer or sem glue they use on joints on the car, and I threw some spray paint on top just to make sure that it's not getting rusted up or nothing. And they're on that side too, and also vacuumed out the floor, just because that was the last thing I had to do before I could get the carpet back in here. So that's going to be the next step, is I want to throw the carpet back in here, the back seats, the front seats, center console, and all that junk. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's all back together, because I'm really excited to see that guy under the center console and see how it looks, because I was fitting under the center console before pretty good. I'm kind of skeptical how the cables are going to look, but I mean, yeah, it might be bulging a little on the carpet, but it'll be okay. So I'll update you then. Okay, so I've gotten the carpet in, and I stuck the center console on, and I'm really happy how this came out. You can't really see the plastic coming out the bottom. The cables, there's a bit of a lump like I thought, but it'll fit in there, so that's pretty sweet. Then also the fuel cell, because I still have my seats, and I have the seats cut around the roll cage. It still covers up the fuel cell along with the rear cargo board. So that's pretty cool. So at least people won't see that. So it looks all nonchalant or normal, except for when I pop the back to put gas in it. People are probably going to look at me like an idiot. But yeah, just wanted to show you how it's going. Okay guys, so the interior's all in on the car. I haven't like wiped it completely off. I kind of gave it a ghetto wipe down. But it's all in, everything's bolted down. And you can't really see the brackets there down here, so I'm pretty happy. Shifter looking pretty boss. But yeah, next thing for me is gonna be, I guess, filling up the rear diff with fluid and whatever not. I gotta do that. Then I'm probably gonna wash it, because it's been a while. I'll wash it all up. Just the main reason for washing it is because I want to clean under the hood, because the next step is actually going to be putting the motor and tranny in for hopefully the last time. So I got to show you also how I've made or how I decided, what I decided to do about the top transmission mount and the rear T-bracket. Here, let me just roll to the next clip. Okay, so here's what I'm doing for the top transmission mount. I'm just using this round tubing, and I'm using some Hasport urethane bushings. These are 70 on the Durameter, and they're just going to slip into this guy, which right now they fit loosely. So what I'm going to have to do is, I'm going to be kind of good about it and just cut this down and just actually remove some of the material and pinch this actually down so it fits tightly around this. Then this is the base plate, which is made out of 3/16. That's what I decided to use. I just couldn't use any of the billet mounts I wanted, so I'm making my own. So here's the base plate. I still got to mark the holes and drill them out, which there's 3. And this should be sitting right around the center. I'll pop that in. It's going to sit right in the center. And when I be doing to connect it, it's just I'm going to be using some of the leftover square tubing. So I'm going to shape it in the form of this round tubing, and I'm just going to weld it all together. And that's what I'm doing for the top one. For the rear one, you're just going to have to wait to see. I basically made some templates, and my friend Micah, who owns Concept Fab, he's cutting that guy out. I'm currently waiting for that. So I'll show you that when I have it. Okay, so I'm back, and I just wanted to show you what I did with the tranny. And this was the piece of billet I was talking about welding in here. Well, I didn't do it. My friend over at Concept Fab did it. He welded this guy, followed down, it's just a piece of billet. Then I drilled and tapped this hole. And he had some other holes over here. There was, I believe there was one previously here. And he welded that guy. And I drilled and tapped the new guy over here. And he had a bit of material, as you can see in here. So I'd have enough material to drill and tap that one. But yeah, and you gotta weld out one of these or make it bigger. And that's pretty much for the transmission. For the block, there's these guys, which the bolt goes completely through on both of them. And I had to do a little notch on the block right there, just so it would clear the starter. And that's absolutely all you have to do. So now I'm going to take my twin disc and bolt it up and throw on the tranny on it for the last time, hopefully, and put it in the car. So I'll update you then. Alright, so I got the motor just in the car, dangling by the engine hoist right now. And what we're doing right now is fabricating this motor mount, which Cody's drilling out over there, the plate that's going to go on the bottom. Then I have this guy. I'm going to be using a mount insert, which I had to cut it to get it to fit tighter on the mounts. I had to cut a chunk off of it, and I'm going to clamp it together and re-weld it, just so the urethane inserts fit really tight in there. But on that, then Cody's doing the plate. We might connect it all with some square tubing if we have to. The square tubing will go from this to the flat plate that we're using on the bottom. You'll see here in a second. But yeah, this is where I am right now with the car. Alright, so here's what I got. I got my 3/16 flat plate on the bottom. Then I have this little circular piece that I've cut down that you saw before. And in between, I'm going to be using this 3/16 2x2 inch square tubing. It's like a piece I have left over from the rear cross member. And that's going to get welded to the plate, and this gets welded to the top, and so on and so on. And that's what I'm going to be using for my transmission mount. So I'm going to go ahead and tack it up and show you how it looks afterwards. So right now, I've gotten the square inch tubing welded to the circular pipe, and I welded it on the inside. So now I'm gonna let it cool down and grind it so it doesn't look like utter crap. Okay, so I got one mount down out of the two, and it turned out pretty okay. Not the prettiest welds, but that'll work. So yeah, I guess we're gonna put it on. The motor could actually hang for once. So At least I could push this shit out of here, and I'll work on it when I get a little bit more extra time. So, alright.